Hey everyone, my name is Nadia and I'm here today to talk about the 2024 Economics Nobel Prize. So three economists won it and it was Acemoglu, Robson and Johnson. And basically their work, which has been studied for many years since 2000, they published it, the first work in 2000 approximately, but basically was to talk about how institutions has a huge interfere and impact on the prosperity of nations. They classify two types of institutions: the economics institutions and political institutions. And according to them, those institutions can have a good or bad impact on a country's economy, on a nation's wealth. And they were relating their work to colonizations. So based on their studies, they realized that countries that had good institutions when they were colonized, they were able to build their wealth and become a rich country along the years, while countries that were colonized and the colonizers established bad institutions, then those countries, they failed in terms of wealth nations. And then nowadays, most of them, they are classified as poor country, or not a rich country. Some of them, they're not actually poor country, and I'll talk specifically about Brazil, my country, but they are not rich as Switzerland, United States, Canada, and many other countries. So when Acemoglu, Johnson, and Robinson, they start talking, they started studying about the impact of countries that were colonized and how it influenced on their wealth. They basically were seeing that countries, okay, so there were two reasons when the colonizers were not building good institutions in those countries. So reason number one was when the colonizer were colonizing those countries, so for the ones that they established bad institutions, majority of the time were because number one, the country that were being colonized had many diseases, and those two diseases were very serious diseases, such as yellow fever, for example. So then they didn't want to establish any relationship with those countries. So basically they were just extracting as much as they could. So that's why we say they were exploiting those countries, so taking all natural resources that they could and then moving away. And the another reason was if the country had too many population. So if the country had too many population, usually those colonizers, they were not establishing in that country, because one of the reasons is that countries that had a high number of population compared to the others, they were already in some in certain type, they were already rich, not rich, but they were richer than the others. So since they had like established a good economy, if I could use this term, then the colonizers, they saw that there's no point to staying there because they had too much good research, so they were just extracting those research and moving away. So saw that, I just wanna make the relationship with Brazil, my country. Brazil was discovered in 1500 by Portugal. And initially, when Portugal discovered Brazil, they didn't see any good thing in Brazil. I mean, not any good natural resource that they could take advantage of it. But then eventually they realized that Brazil had a tree that's called pau Brazil. And then once they saw that pau Brazil has like a red color inside, they understood that it was good for them to produce clothes and any other materials, any other goods. So then they started extracting all the pau Brazil and moving to Europe. And usually they were kind of exchanging products with the indigenous people that were living in Brazil. So they were like giving mirrors, knives, whatever they saw. Indigenous people saw that it was good for them. Then European people were kind of exchanging, not kind, they were exchanging it with indigenous people. Then it was the beginning of the economic cycle in Brazil. Eventually, they had another cycle, which was the sugar cycle. So because Brazil is a hot and humid country, they saw that was good for producing sugar. So then they started bringing the machines to Brazil and then producing our what we call it engenho de açúcar. And then there they were producing sugar and then exporting those sugar to Europe to sell it, right? At that time they started bringing a lot of slave people to Brazil in order to produce sugar, and then they were able to sell it. After that, Brazil had another cycle, another economic cycle, when they found gold in Minas Gerais, in Brazil, the southeast of Brazil. Then they started extracting all those golds, and again they were moving it to Europe. Portugal, he had a pact with Brazil, and one of the pacts were that Brazil were not allowed to sell any products to other countries other than Portugal, and for whatever price they were asking for. So basically Brazil was literally dependent on Portugal and producing for Portugal. So I just want to show you how the Nobel Prize work. It's related to Brazil in terms of, it says exactly what happens in Brazil in terms of the institutions. The bad institutions were established in Brazil only to take advantage of the products we had there, because initially they didn't see any reason to bring people, Portuguese people, to Brazil to live there and to build our economy. And this is so true that only in 1808, when Portugal crown was moving from Portugal because Napoleon Bonaparte was dominating Europe, so then Portugal crown had to move away from Portugal. Then they moved to Brazil, to Rio de Janeiro, and that's when they started building our economy. And I mean it in terms of they started, that's only when they started building universities, schools, roads, the first bank of Brazil. And then the economy started itself to grow and improve. That's when they established good institutions, because before it they were establishing what they call here bad institutions. Anyways, I just wanna talk about it because I love talking about economics. I am an economist, and yeah, I just wanna give my thoughts about it. I hope you guys like it. I'll just leave below the whole documents about the Nobel Prize, and it's a 50 pages, and you guys can read it. It's very nice, it's good writing, so it's not super difficult to understand. Actually, it's not difficult at all to understand. And yeah, I hope you guys like it. I apologize for my English mistakes. You guys know it's my second language, and that's it. I hope to see you on my next video. You guys have a great day. Bye.